Good morning, gamers. Welcome to This Week in Gaming. I'm your host, Dev, aka Coalescence Gamer, and on this show, we're going to talk about what happened this recent gaming week. I'm gathering the hot info. You just have to sit here and listen. I'm going to start with possibly the biggest lead that we have today. Rockstar Games has come out and said that the Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer will release early this December, which is probably the hugest thing that anyone could have expected, considering it has been a joke since Queen Elizabeth was still alive. Don't worry, I'll cover all the details of that once we get there on this show, and we get there. They are no longer rumors, and the hype for Grand Theft Auto 6 will once again start building back up. And now we move on to gaming news around the world and around the scene. Bungie, you love them, you hate them. What the hell are they doing? In case you missed it, Bungie is a game studio that is a subsidiary of Sony, which is responsible for the first-person shooter, massively multiplayer online shooter title, Destiny 2. And this last week, the studio had layoffs of over 100 plus employees due to a, quote, 45 missing revenue percent, unquote, from sales, mostly in the expansion for Destiny 2, codenamed Lightfall. And as of this week, they announced a new story event for the last of their, quote, seasonal models, unquote, they have used since 2017, the launch of the game, which in 2024, when the new expansion, codenamed Final Shape, will release, it will switch to a new model called Episodes. More on the story now. The following segment will contain spoilers for Destiny 2 Lightfall Season 22, codenamed Season of the Witch. You have been warned, and if you don't want spoilers, I recommend you click off now, go play the story yourself, but if you don't own it or you don't care, continue. So a week after the layoffs of Bungie, the team released the final story beat for the season, which after hunting through secret missions and cutscenes, it revealed something of an egg. That's it, an egg. And to anyone new of the franchise, it's huge to us because it is of a special species of characters in-game called the Ahamkara, or Wish Dragons. This is important to everyone because it was believed the eggs and the species itself was destroyed during an event called the Great Hunt, which is just a matter of reading the story. But one of the antagonists of this current season hid the last egg, which after the cutscene, it reveals that this egg is critical. The main antagonist of the season, which is named Savathun, the Hive God of Lies, gives the player what was promised at the beginning of the season, in the form of something which other characters refer to as the Last Wish. This may not mean a lot to new players, but it's important because, well, this correlates to something from 2018, reigniting the famous, more infamous community puzzle called the 15th Wish. But first, a bit of backstory. In 2018, Activision and Bungie, on the last working expansion they were together, released the biggest expansion to the Destiny franchise ever, called Forsaken. This introduced so much new content, nothing in Destiny is on par ever. Nothing ever will be. It was just the best expansion. In-game, there was a raid called The Last Wish, and with it, 15 different in-game triumphs and achievements that were associated with completing each wish. But months after the raid, the 15th one was still missing. For the next year, I'm going to put it, because I haven't been involved in that puzzle since it happened. Everyone went mad searching for what was called the 15th Wish, scanning every hint of the game for it. Now, of course, this led to no avail, and eventually even Bungie dismissed it themselves. Until now, I guess, which the 15th Wish will be revealed next season in what will be codenamed the last season of Destiny 2, Season of the Wish. In less than 3 weeks, the season will drop, which players, including myself, will begin the hunt for this infamous Last Wish and find out what is going on. But we haven't completely forgotten what Bungie did as of last Monday. We're still watching you. Moving on from that, we're gonna keep going with Activision and first-person shooters, where we move to the latest entry in their hit first-person shooter franchise, Call of Duty. Recently, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 was up for pre-orders, which is available now to pre-order and releasing in less than 2 days as of the time of recording and scripting this. Modern Warfare 3 released about last Friday for early access campaign for anyone who pre-ordered digital versions of the game. I say this because people who played it will agree with me on this point, but it's kind of disappointing. But yes, you heard that right. they're doing another Modern Warfare 3 title because I'm guessing they ran out of creativity up there at Activision because they can't do names worth a damn anymore. Go figure. After releasing globally this Saturday, everyone had thought this would be it, but the campaign has the tagline of, quote, taking on the ultimate threat in the Modern Warfare universe. It's mostly focused on this day and age with how modern warfare really is in real life. I'm gonna go with because it started in 2019, and the timeline in game confirms that most of the events of last year's title, Modern Warfare 2, took place in 2022 in their universe, so it's considered to be modern. Boy, do I have news for you. Modern Warfare 3 campaign was definitely a letdown to say the least. I pre-ordered for the campaign early access. I pre-ordered the deluxe edition of the game, whatever you want to call it, Vault, whatever. It was disappointing. So, let me put it to you this way. If you put it on the hardest difficulty the game has, which is Veteran, they removed the realistic difficulty for some reason, but if you stick it on Veteran and drag out every mission as long as you can, you're looking at 5.5 hours most. And mostly because 6 of the 14 new campaign missions are of a new style called Open Combat, weapons free. What I mean is the game took a new turn with this year's title. Some missions you could go explore the map freely, gather new weapons and tools to use to get to a complete objective of the overall mission, albeit a short one. For example, the first one is putting trackers on 3 containers. That's it. That's literally how the game works. Or at least that first mission. But they do it in a way that's unique, with you can either go about it stealth or guns blazing. That is how you feel. I mean, you do get to play as some of the iconic characters like Captain Price and Simon Riley, also known as Ghost, or if you played the recent trilogy, Commander Farah Kareem. But it just wasn't that captivating. It was some captivating, but not entirely. But to keep it as short as possible, the game just wasn't interesting, and they're dragging it out to a 4th title, completely losing the hype to take down the ultimate threat and the ultimate weapon being team. The last resort for this game to even survive and sell before Activision considers doing the layoff trend is if multiplayer and Modern Warfare Zombies take the hype, when we launch globally Friday and Saturday, and keeps it going until the new Call of Duty Warzone map Urzikstan releases in December. And now we're going to move on to the premier scene of gaming, in my personal opinion. We're going to start out with Activision and Blizzard once again, and their title, Overwatch 2. Recently, this last week, Overwatch 2 conducted a new testing for a new tank class hero they're revealing in Season 8, who is called Mauga, which kind of reminds me of Maui from Disney's Moana, and that and a team captain of a certain team I know watched a very loud TikTok several times to confirm this joke. I will refer to this last weekend as the Mauga incident, as it left a lasting effect. Lobbies everywhere were full of this hero, and everyone was so mad, it shifted the meta, as it's called, from being a horse, I kid you not, this thing looks like a horse, to everything. Which this new hero has an ability to drag several other enemies into a one-on-one area called a cage fight. Let me tell you, that was not fun to play against. I would know. I was a victim. I gave up this weekend. The meta is now currently back to the horse and a particle fusion gunner, which it sounds interesting. But before we finish on Overwatch, the Overwatch World Cup happened this last Saturday. I was there with a couple friends. I was impressed how the games all played. Congratulations to the Saudi Arabia team for winning the 23 Overwatch World Cup. And if anyone gambled on it and you lost, sucks to be you. You know who you are. Moving on, we're going to move to Rocket League because Epic Games is doing some interesting stuff this week. Mostly, they're doing a kind of risky, in my opinion, collab, and they're bringing Lightning McQueen from Disney's Cars into the game. I kid you not, the trailer released a couple days ago. And you know, now that I think of it, it was kind of ironic I did the Disney joke about Maui and Mauga for Overwatch for that segment. But, oh well. This is definitely the most interesting collab I've seen recently for Rocket League. And I'm huge about the one they did with Halo for a while ago because, come on, a warthog in soccer, you gotta love it. Meanwhile, we're going to move on to first-person shooters, starting with Riot's Valorant. Valorant players are getting to a new level of, fun, as we're calling it, with a new agent released recently. ISO is the new agent in Valorant, and he has an interesting kit which makes the game almost play in a different style, especially because it's the last. It's almost I forgot what they call it, like the last act or something for 23. But his kit is definitely there. Some of his from his abilities being able to weaken enemies, to focus on multiple, to his ultimate being a basically one-on-one death arena. Kind of familiar to anyone who played Overwatch this last weekend for the Mauga incident, because both of them have both of them have an ability that drags people into a small area to fight almost perfectly one-on-one. So I guess they have something in common besides Valorant being called the discount child of CS:GO and Overwatch. Come on, that was funny. No, okay. On the subject of CS:GO and Valorant, let's go look at some other games that share the same theme. Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege. The game is in an interesting state because everyone is calling the anti-cheat of the game into question. Why do I say that? Over the last few weeks, there were interesting reports of players cheating, as in ranked matches pre-game. Some people get kicked to the lobby, and during the prep phase, operators were flying around and killing everyone pre-game too. Even last night, somebody on the script team had an associate mention that there were several people banned in their games. I personally love Siege. I'd hate to see the game get any worse. I mean, they added Master Chief, so they know what they're doing to get the game going, right? Meanwhile, Counter-Strike 2, one of the hottest games that came out recently, Valve has issued a statement regarding the bans that were due to AMD Technologies' anti-lag feature. Valve's statement included the promises to undo any bans if the anti-lag was used because AMD's anti-lag technology would be redirecting the files differently, and Valve's anti-cheat system, codenamed VAC, doesn't approve of that, and that led to bans, or as I would say, it would send them on a vacation. No? You guys are no fun. Moving on, which hopefully I can play CSGO again because I don't want to get banned. I mean, my laptop's running AMD, so I'd hope to. We're gonna, I refuse to play League of Legends. I mean, I watched the show Arcane, but I just refuse to play the game. Hold up. I'm being informed currently that one of my associates will kill me this, and the writing staff somehow figured this out and told me. I don't know. Recently, League of Legends patch 13.22 released, and it was a surprise patch to say, but there's some big changes that nobody expected. I can't go over all the patch notes. They're available to read yourself on the website, but I will go over two of the highlights, in my opinion, that I liked personally. My first highlight has to go to the mages and mage-like characters in Legion getting an attack speed buff because, quote, the attack speed of these characters felt a little too slow, so we buffed them recently. Secondly, there were several nerfs and balances, quote-unquote, and the one I'm going to highlight is for my close buddy who goes by the code name of Gimmick, and that is the Tom Kench nerf in League of Legends. He's one of my good friends, and Gimmick plays him a lot, so I would like to give him a moment of silence. I can't afford that much silence, my friend. The last game on my list for this day of recording is Smite. Next season is opening up November 14th, which is roughly a week from yesterday, claiming to be, quote, the biggest Smite event of the year, unquote. I played Smite once and I didn't get the feel for it, but I'm happy to hear that the community has something amazing to look forward to. Hold up, I'm getting another message from the writing team. I'm getting a message that one of my very close friends is going to drag me to play Smite, so I don't have an option. Oh well. The season will barely be out in time for scripting and recording of next week's This Week in Gaming video, but I will have any details I can as soon as possible before I have people script and I record the next episode. Lastly, before I go, I do want to have a bit about the show. I do plan to get footage from the games I talk about and lay them over, have some guests, and have better quality for the show in general. It's just a matter of time before we do that. The team scripted this and handed it to me today, so I had to rush this episode to quote hell and back, unquote. But that's until next time. Until then, I've been Dev, aka Coalescence Gamer, and this has been This Week in Gaming. Remember, stay frosty and may all your games be good. GG's.